So we all knew there was going to be some blowback to Gloria's death, and my initial reaction was Vic was either going to blame Walter Flynn or Tommy, but Walter Flynn, being the devil, he not only used this whole situation to manipulate Vic against Tommy, he also used the situation as an opportunity to pull Claudia away from whatever she was doing and have her back in the mix with the Flynns. But she also had her own doubts until she saw Tommy with Markovic. But again, this wasn't because Tommy was in on it with the Serbian twin who hit Vic and Gloria. It was because Tommy realized he needed protection. So now Walter Flynn has Claudia and Vic on his side, and there is going to be a full-blown war with the Flynns and his four horsemen versus Tommy and the Serbs. But one situation which will complicate things is Jenard and the CBI, because they're after Tommy as well. But where they hit D-Mac after Tommy revealed to him he's his uncle, D-Mac is now fighting for his life, and I think we really will see Tommy unleash in the season finale. But something else which we've been waiting for is Diamond to finally find out Jenard has been plotting behind his back this entire time, and now it's Diamond's turn to be 5 moves ahead. But we're gonna run through all the plots and storylines in this review and recap. But let's kick things off with where this episode started, and that was with Vic having a hallucination scene of Gloria's death. And this was always going to be a raw and painful death to deal with because of how much Vic loved Gloria, which is why he first turned and blamed his father Walter Flynn, because he never liked Gloria in the first place. And ironically, he did put out a hit on Gloria, but Uncle Paulie never went through with it. Now one thing you can never doubt with Walter Flynn is, he carries his heart on his sleeve, especially when it comes to Vic, and he'll always be there to protect his kids. But Walter Flynn is cold and he's manipulative, so he used Gloria's death as an opportunity to twist this whole situation and have Vic think it was Tommy who was the one who was behind the hit with the Serbs, even though Tommy gave Vic a clean car and told him to use the back routes to leave Chicago. But Walter Flynn made his intentions clear. He wanted Tommy dead, along with all the Serbs, and at this moment, Tommy had no clue of Gloria's death, but it was definitely on his mind thinking about whether Gloria and Vic made it out safe. But this is where Walter Flynn reached out to Claudia, because he needed Claudia to play her position, telling Vic that they were a family and where they needed to stick together, and Claudia did just that. She was there for him. But when Vic explained how it was the Serbs and Tommy behind the whole thing, this raised some alarm bells with Claudia, because she knows at first hand how Tommy does business. He's smart and he's strategic. And let's be honest, if Tommy wanted Vic dead, he would have been dead a long time ago, and he even warned him in the very first episode when he put 2 bullets through his windscreen, the next one will go in his head. But Tommy had no reason to either kill Vic or Gloria, and Claudia even said his theory was a long reach, but Walter Flynn gave her no choice. She was either with them or against them. But one way he was able to get Claudia on side was to finally put trust in her to sit down with the men in the war room, because all season long we've seen Walter having Claudia play her position with the books and shutting her down at every single turn when she was ready to step up. But I think Walter recognized she had her doubts, and he really did need both kids on side if he was going to take on the Serbs. But this is why we saw Claudia questioning Tommy, because I'm sure she had her doubts that this was a Tommy move, but her conversation with Tommy left her with more questions rather than answers, because Tommy of course denied having anything to do with the hit on Vic and Gloria, because you could see how hurt he was when he found out about Gloria's death, because she was innocent, but innocent people are always collateral damage in this game. But Tommy said if he wanted Vic dead, he would have already been dead, just like I went through earlier on, and there was no reason for him to kill Gloria either. But Tommy left her by telling her she needs to consider her source, which of course was Walter Flynn, and he knew it was her father that was manipulating this whole situation, because he's probably still got a chip on his shoulder from when Tommy rejected his offer in episode 8. But what pushed Claudia into believing her father was seeing Tommy with Markovic. Now Vic Flynn was on side because he was out there to get revenge for Gloria's death. But I really don't agree with what Walter Flynn said in this scene. He said blood and family will always have your back, but as the saying goes, blood makes you related, loyalty makes you family, and is Walter Flynn really acting in the best interest for his family? Or is he acting in the best interest for himself and his reputation? I think we all know the answer to this one, and Uncle Paulie even questioned it. But all Walter Flynn cared about was reuniting his family and getting back at the Serbs with the 4 horsemen, which is in reference to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which actually describes conquest, war, hunger, and death, which is a perfect correlation to where Walter Flynn is at this moment in time against the Serbs and Tommy Egan. So when the 4 hitters came from Dublin through to Dr. Parker's office, Vic was the lead, and Claudia now had a seat at the table at this side of the business, and Vic said the aim was to kill every single Serb but most importantly, Tommy Egan. So I'm sure we can all expect next week to be a full-blown war with the Flynns and his hitters from Dublin versus Tommy and the Serbs. And we're gonna come to Tommy and the Serbs in just a moment. But let's talk about Tommy and D-Mac. And this is the position that Tommy has D-Mac playing, which is in one of the cash houses, where he can put his mathematical mind to use, but also keeping him off the streets and out of trouble. But Tommy wants more than this for D-Mac. He wants him to use his mind and get out of the game while he can, because he's lost so much in his life in the past. And he even said how D-Mac reminded him of someone. And of course, that someone was James St. Patrick. But just following Tommy for a moment, now all episode he was questioning whether Gloria made it out safe, until he realized when Claudia told him. But did anybody else notice how Liliana is always eating when they're at Tommy's place? It is a complete role reversal from Power, when Tommy was the one who was always in the fridge at the St. Patrick's. But coming back to D-Mac, we saw Marshall returning because he realized Jenard snaked him and made the move with his cousin buddy behind his back. And we saw them not only making up, but making their move to cousin buddy in Gary with a brick of Dahlia. But this is the trouble that Tommy wants to keep D-Mac from, because this really is the shit that will get you killed. But also because Tommy can see he's got a big future away from the game, something that doesn't end up with him dead or in jail. But this was also the moment he told him how he knew JP was his father and how he's his uncle. And we're gonna come back to D-Mac being shot. So let's park this for a moment, because while all this was happening, Tommy made his move with Merkovich. Jenard was continuing to make his moves, and Diamond finally found out Jenard is a snake. But let's start with Merkovich, because he had Claudia's warning loud and clear when she told him he needs to watch his back. And he knew it was Walter Flynn who was twisting his kids' minds, because he knew Walter was putting a hit on Gloria. So where he was turned down from Diamond to help him with his war, he had no choice but to go to Merkovich, which cost him 1.5 million. But Tommy said he'd throw in an extra 500k if he tells him who killed Gloria, because she was innocent. And of course, it was the Serbian twin of who Tommy killed in episode 4, someone I made reference to 2 weeks ago. And Tommy did say he was gonna look at his other twin and kill him. But this really was classic Tommy, cancelling Christmas. And now he has the Serbs on side to take on Walter Flynn and his 4 horsemen. But he'll need the Serbs for more than just the Flynns. He'll need them for Jenard, because he's still making some crazy moves. Because we saw him plotting behind Diamond's back with Blackstone, telling him how he took a dive in their fight. But now he's ready to take on both Tommy and Diamond, and how they're both dead to him. But he wasn't aware that Diamond was listening to everything. And now we're watching Diamond use the law of playing a sucker to catch a sucker from the 48 laws of power. Because it really is Diamond's turn to be 5 moves ahead. But it doesn't mean he wasn't hurt by Jenard's betrayal. And you could see it when he was talking to Adrian. But regardless, he knows what needs to be done. Jenard has to go because it's either him or his brother. But I don't know whether he has a heart to kill Jenard. So let's see how Diamond plays this one. But Jenard also planned and hit D-Mac after he realized the move him and Marshall made with cousin Buddy. And this is where we come back to D-Mac being shot. Because after Tommy revealed he was his uncle, we saw D-Mac running to this spot. But this is where Tommy was there for him. But what made this scene even more sad was how D-Mac said he'll never call Tommy Uncle Tommy until the moment he was shot, is when we heard him scream Uncle Tommy. And now with blood all over Tommy and him admitted to JP, he knew for a minute that D-Mac was his son. This caused a little heated argument between JP and Tommy. But now Chicago is really about to feel Tommy's wrath. Because one thing you do not do is come after Tommy's family. So I'm sure there will be a lot of Christmas cancelling in the season finale for force. But elsewhere in the episode, there was also another key moment with JP and Tommy, which was JP admitting that he called Kate. And he also called his mother because he wants answers, and also because he's never had a mother in his life. But unfortunately for him, not only did this mother not give him the answers he was looking for, but she changed his number on him as well. And when he admitted to Tommy that he called Kate, we saw him flip a switch, because he knows Kate ain't no mother of the year. But with episode 10 titled Family Business, I do think it will all be about all-out war, but also about family with D-Mac fighting for his life, JP reuniting with his son, and possibly Kate returning. So I do think Kate's return is on the cards for episode 10, especially because we didn't see her in episode 9. But lastly, moving on to Officer Bennigan, who had the gun to Diamond's head because he was being threatened for more money. And Diamond made a good point. Is Bennigan any better than a criminal? Because let's look at it this way. He's on the books of Vic Flynn, and now he's stealing cash from Diamond. But Bennigan was there because of what Diamond did 15 years ago, and now he's blaming him for the position that he finds himself in. But let's see which direction they take this storyline, because Bennigan is a ticking time bomb, and Diamond will have to do something about him and Jenard. And with that being said, that was episode 9, which set up this huge war and family business for the season finale of the first season of Force. So drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section on all things episode 9. And of course, I'm going to be back with my recap part 2 later on this evening. So of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 4 Force and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.